You're watching WYLN TV 35. Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Julia Weekend. Hazleton police caught up with a man involved in a 2020 armed robbery following a 13-month investigation. 20-year-old Adriel Metz Cabrera allegedly held up the C&P convenience store on East Chestnut Street back on January 1st of last year. Evidence was recovered from the scene and processed for DNA, which confirmed by February that Metz Cabrera was the one that committed the robbery. An arrest warrant was issued for him, and he was taken into custody on June 30th. He was charged with robbery, theft by unlawful taking, simple assault, and reckless endangerment. The name of a woman who died during a Sunday night fire at a River Street apartment complex in Wilkes-Barre has been released. The Luzerne County Coroner's Office said that 52-year-old Karen Turkington died in the blaze that was reported shortly before 8 Sunday night at the West River Apartments. Turkington was taken from a 6th-floor apartment as emergency responders performed life-saving measures at the scene, then transported to Geisinger South in Wilkes-Barre, where she was later pronounced dead. An autopsy is scheduled to be performed on Wednesday. Attorney General Josh Shapiro announced this afternoon that the former director of Luzerne County's Children and Youth Services was charged with allegedly putting dozens of children at risk. An investigation revealed that 58-year-old Joanne Van Son directed employees to terminate nearly 217 reports of child abuse and neglect received from the state childline system back in May of 2017. The cases were part of a backlog, so Van Son allegedly came up with a plan to eliminate them without conducting any investigations. She was arrested and charged with endangering the welfare of children and obstruction in child abuse cases, and has since resigned from her position. Columbia County Commissioners are looking to bring an old, colorful, creative concept to life in Berwick in the name of tourism. Good old Graffiti Highway. The abandoned strip of Route 61, once considered a popular and tad bit rebellious tourist attraction in Centralia, was officially buried by workers back in April of last year in the heart of the pandemic, largely due to the creative gem being considered a liability issue by the Pit Rail Corporation, which is the private company that owns the abandoned highway. Columbia County Commissioner Chris Young was just one of the many that were disappointed to see it go. So, he and the other county commissioners reached out to Pit Rail with the idea and interest of purchasing it to create a safer tourist attraction for festival-type events, with food trucks, electricity, and a parking lot to alleviate some of the issues. Sadly, they got no response. However, while scrolling through Instagram, Young came across a page called PA Bucket List, and others like it across the country.
I saw Austin, Texas has a graffiti park. Pennsylvania has an abandoned turnpike tunnel that people sprayed graffiti on. It's actually part of the PA bucket list to go see. So I thought, why not try to best recreate what we had over in Centralia, and let's get another graffiti highway. And I thought of Berwick right away because of the Berwick Test Track. It's owned by Berwick, it's out of the way, and this could really develop into something.
At his request, Councilman Jay Jarrett floated the idea of opening a section of the roadway to graffiti artists at their June meeting, which borough officials seem to be on board with. But according to certain 30-second submissions printed in the Press Enterprise, there are some that aren't too fond of the idea.
Now, is it going to have that rebellious feel that graffiti highway had? I don't think so. So will it be as welcomed? I don't know. But I think it could be even better, because you could invite artists to do really neat graffiti, not just so much just scribbling. You could actually invite graffiti artists to have a graffiti artist weekend and do some really cool things.
There would be some rules. The graffiti would be limited to the straight stretch of road at Test Track Park between the boat dock and the stage. where most of the booths for Riverfest are located, and no pornography or profanity would be allowed. The park road is also slated for resurfacing in the near future. So, if council would want to make the artwork permanent, they'd have to do the repaving first, which nobody on council seemed to object to.
So, it was just an idea. I don't know what the end result will be, but I think it would be really good for Berwick and tourism to try to recreate something. I just ask everybody to have an open mind and see how it may develop.
A New Jersey man's facing numerous charges for causing an uproar at Mohegan Sun Pocono over the weekend. State police were called to the casino Saturday after 46-year-old Henry Ellis of Camden, New Jersey, allegedly punched a patron in the face and proceeded to expose himself before fleeing the scene in a U-Haul van, which struck a Plains Township police vehicle in the process. Police say Ellis drove up the road and finally stopped in the parking lot of a Sheetz gas station. He was arrested and charged with aggravated assault, resisting arrest, recklessly endangering another person, and attempting to elude police. He was taken to Luzerne County Prison for lack of $50,000 bail. A Mahanoy City man was taken into custody following an incident with police. Police responded to the 1000 block of Market Street for a report of loud music. Upon their arrival, the responding patrolman made contact with 29-year-old Herrero de la Cruz and advised that his music was at an unreasonable level. That's when de la Cruz began arguing with the officer and refused to comply with the officer's multiple attempts before he was taken into custody. He was charged with disorderly conduct and public drunkenness and now sits at Schuylkill County Prison on $10,000 straight cash bail. Edwardsville police are seeking the public's help identifying several individuals who allegedly shot fireworks at both properties and residents in the Eagle Ridge housing development. The department released a picture on their Facebook page of the individuals in question. According to residents, the suspects drove around the area speeding and shooting fireworks out of their vehicle at residents and cars. Edwardsville police are still investigating the incident and urge anyone with information to come forward, as all tips will remain anonymous. You can contact Edwardsville Borough Police via Facebook or by calling 570-288-8463. Coming up on WYLN News, practicing for fall sports in this heat, plus Patrone talks about foreseeing Bookman as the Cougars' head coach. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the WYLN Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ezra. I'm 5 years old, and it's gonna rain out. Bye.
All Care Home Care, providing quality in home care since 1986. Call and see how their team of licensed physical therapists, skilled nurses, speech, and occupational therapists can provide you with exceptional service in the comfort of your own home. They also offer dietitian, home health aide, and medical social worker services. You have a choice in your health care. For safe, friendly, qualified care, call All Care Home Care today and let their team begin taking care of you and your loved ones.
Do you like craft beer? Do you want to learn the right way to sample wine? How about checking out a restaurant with a unique flavor or a crazy food challenge? These are just some of the things we are featuring on Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. So, spend some time learning about great wine, great beer, and great food on WYLN TV 35.
What's on TV? Plenty. WYLN TV 35, the best in local programming.
Hey guys, it's Ray Merrill from Blaze Alexander Greater Hazleton. I don't know where you're going to find a nice, good quality pre-owned truck. The word on the street is you can't find them anywhere. I'm sure they're out there somewhere. Did I tell you we're at Blaze Alexander Greater Hazleton? And I'm sure if you look hard enough for a used truck and go to a nice dealership that has inventory, you'll be able to find a pretty good selection. But the word on the street is you can't find any. So why don't you come here to Blaze Alexander Greater Hazleton and find out where we take the deals and have the trucks the other guys don't.
Get hired on the spot at Knoebels this Thursday. The job fair will be held from 4 to 7 p.m. this Thursday, July 8th at Pavilion L near the Impulse roller coaster. The family-owned amusement park announced wage increases this past weekend for both current and future team members to celebrate their 95th anniversary. New seasonal hires have the opportunity to earn up to $11 an hour to start. Attendees are asked to bring 2 forms of ID and a parent or guardian if you're under 18 in order to get hired on the spot. But if you can't make it, you can still apply online and find out more at knoebels.com/jobs. Hazleton area Cougar football is getting back into the grind as summer practices recently started up again. Our Rhino Sachi has more on how the young team's coping with the heat and getting in shape for the season.
With less than 2 months until the 2021 season, the Hazleton area Cougars are out in the heat and back on the gridiron practicing. Second-year head football coach Dennis Bookman feels that the team's foundation has been set and it's go time heading into the fall.
Last year was a great year in terms of being able to set the foundation of our program. Our culture's intact now. Players know what to expect out of each day of practice in terms of the energy level, the consistency level, and our players and coaches are excited to be out here.
And speaking of that energy level, Bookman knows that his players need to be careful and stay proactive in order to be both safe and efficient during all this summer heat.
We're making sure, first of all, to really express to the players, hydration doesn't start the day of practice, okay? Being part of, the solution of being an elite athlete is making sure we're taking care of our bodies at all times. We have water stations throughout our practice field here. And like I said, the consistency and the work that our players are putting in, not only here, but making sure their bodies are ready for practice each day is so important.
The coaching staff also designed practice in rotations to give players a break from the sun with weightlifting and conditioning.
Our practices are broken up right now in really efficient stations. We're cycling through exactly what you said, between field work, getting downstairs, getting obviously that lifting and weight room component that's so vital to our success, and then being able to get out here, do a lot of teaching, a lot of conditioning as well. So those things really are blending well together for our program.
Another way to combat the heat is holding earlier morning practices in order to avoid peak temperatures and get the most out of players throughout each and every practice.
We're going early in the mornings. As I said, we're really hydrated. Our players aren't really affected by the heat right now, and that's part of not only the physical toughness that we're displaying here, but also the mental toughness that our players are doing a great job exhibiting.
The team is also just 5 weeks away from heat acclimation, which will better prepare the Cougars for when it's sun's out, equipment on.
Heat Act for us is in terms of starting to get the players adjusted to wearing their equipment, wearing their pads. But we really drive those components even more during that week and making sure that we're as prepared as possible going into that following week, which is true full pad double session practice.
Reporting for WYLN News, I'm Ryan Osachi.
Thanks, Ryan. WYLN's all-time OTC hero Marty Burns has the in-depth analysis of what's happening on and off-season across our viewing area. Rocco Petrone is back this week, so let's talk sports. Here's part 2.
During one of the shows last year, Coach Drumheller was a guest, and I asked him pretty much the same question. When you had Dennis as a player, could you have foreseen him being that person to take over this football program?
That's a great question because you never know who's going to emerge. Who thought that Rocco Petrone was going to emerge as a head football coach? I could tell you there was probably nobody on our team back in I played that thought that. But when you look at Dennis for the fact that he is a teacher at heart, his profession is teaching, but he's a teacher at heart. It's not surprising that he is our head coach.
Did I foresee it? I'm no genius, I could tell you that. Far from it. I certainly didn't foresee it then, but when I look back and think about what a leader he was from the start, one of the few students I brought up as a freshman, he was just a leader, a very, very selfless player, always put the team first. Yeah, it's not hard to believe that he's our head coach when I think back now, and what a success he's going to be. And they always talk about my record in those 10 years. Well, 10 years from now, Marty, you can mark this down, you're going to be talking about Dennis Bookman's record. That I'm guaranteeing.
Coming up on Berwick's News Choice, we're talking canine units on this Trooper Talk Tuesday, plus Leading the Way, Part 2. Stay with us. But first, here's some upcoming firework displays from across our viewing area.
At Grand Central, our family has been supplying your family with quality brand name furniture, mattresses, and appliances for over 3 generations. Whether you choose from our excellent selection of Lazy Boy, Catnapper, or England furniture, or from our fantastic selection of Sealy and Stearns & Foster mattresses, we guarantee total comfort in every room of your home.
With expert advice,
everyday low prices,
plus interest-free financing for up to 60 months.
From our family to your family.
Grand Central in Hazleton. Everything to make your house a home.
Membership opportunities are now available at the Valley Country Club, 79 Country Club Lane in Sugarloaf. Clubhouse upgrades are in progress and will be ready for the spring. Call Frank Radis for details at 570-233-5328.
PPW Nation, get ready for the best of PPW Season 2. Join Paul Bowe, Julius KEIPER, Alexander Bravado, Tom Mitchell, and Alex Watt as we take you down memory lane and relive some of the best PPW matches of all time. Saturdays at 5 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., only on WYLN.
When you see news happening in your neighborhood, call WYLN News at 570-459-1869 or email us at news@WYLNTV.com or send us a message on social media through Facebook. WYLN, we're your local network.
All Care Home Care, providing quality in home care since 1986. Call and see how their team of licensed physical therapists, skilled nurses, speech, and occupational therapists can provide you with exceptional service in the comfort of your own home. They also offer dietitian, home health aide, and medical social worker services. You have a choice in your health care. For safe, friendly, qualified care, call All Care Home Care today and let their team begin taking care of you and your loved ones.
WYLN programming is online all the time. Visit our website at WYLNTV.com to check out archive shows and a live stream of our broadcasts. And don't forget to visit all of our social media pages for breaking news, weather, and sports. You can also head directly to our YouTube page for all our programming at youtube.com/WYLNTV35. Subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time there's a new show available online.
Hello folks, and welcome to Trooper Talk Tuesday here on WYLN. We are joined as always by State Trooper Anthony Petrowski. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So folks, we're going to be talking about canines, canine units, and just kind of we're going away from just safety tips right now, and we're just kind of going to go into an informative little session. We wanted to learn more about canines, and we thought that you folks would enjoy learning as well. So why don't we start off, just tell us about the different kinds of canine units there are and what their responsibilities are and just the general information.
Yeah, everybody wants to talk about our canines. They always want to see them. And in the Pennsylvania State Police, we have different types of canines. We have canines that can detect drugs. We have canines that could detect bombs, weapons, ammunition, and we have canines that can find people, whether those people are alive or unfortunately deceased. These canines, they go through a lot of training with the handlers. And the trooper that's assigned with that canine, they work together every day. The canine goes home with the trooper. They're partners 24/7. It's called the specialized position in the Pennsylvania State Police. They go through the training together, and then they are on call all the time. So if something happens overnight, they call these troopers, because not every trooper has the training to be a canine handler. Again, they have that bond. And our canines are amazing. Now, the Pennsylvania State Police does not have bite dogs. We do not have dogs that will attack people. That's not our practice. We have dogs that will do like I just explained. And I've seen them work firsthand. They're absolutely amazing. They listen on command, and they're always wonderful too. I take them to a lot of community events so people can see them, and they're great with people. They love being around people, but when it's time to work, they're locked on. They are great. They're a great asset to the state police.
And could you tell us maybe a little story? Any canines you know in particular? Any stories you have with them? Anything like that?
Yeah. So there was a canine in our department that's a bomb dog, and his name is Lorax, and he's a German wire-haired pointer dog. So we don't just have German Shepherds. We even have some labs in the Pennsylvania State Police. But this dog, I took him to a local community center to do a demonstration for the kids, and the handler hid something inside the gymnasium, and the kids didn't know where it was, and the handler took Lorax off the leash, and he told them, find it. And Lorax went all around the gym. This is a pretty big room, and he found what he was supposed to find. So then when the canine finds what they're supposed to find, they expect a reward. And the reward is their toy. That's all they want. That's what they think they're finding. So the handler pulled it out of his pocket and made it seem like that's what Lorax found. And then he was playing with this toy, and the kids loved it. But to be able to find something like that, to be able to find a shell casing from a bullet in the middle of the woods, it's impressive. It takes a lot of training, but our canines are awesome. We have a great training program, and the troopers who handle them are unbelievable.
And for people who don't know, if they kind of interact with a canine unit, if they come into contact with a canine unit, is there anything people need to know just about that interaction? I know some people are like, oh, can I pet it or anything like that? How do people have to approach that?
That's a great question. And this isn't a typical pet. This is a trooper. These canines are state troopers. They have a badge, and they have a vest if they need to put it on if we're at a critical incident. Never, regardless of the department, never go up to a canine and pet. Some departments do have bite dogs. Again, the Pennsylvania State Police does not, but always ask the handler. They're technically police officers. So never just approach one and start petting it. Always ask the handler if it's okay. Some of these dogs are very protective of the police cars, of anybody in the uniform. They do recognize the uniforms. So always ask the handler. If the handler says it's okay, then it's okay, but only do what the handler says. Don't do any more than that.
All right, folks. Always great to hear about things going on with PSP, and I didn't even know they were troopers.
Absolutely they are.
That's an amazing fact.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking with us.
My pleasure.
And thank you folks for joining us here on Trooper Talk Tuesday on WYLN.
Hey guys, this is Ray Merrill from Blaze Alexander, Greater Hazleton. We're talking about TNT. We're talking about trucks and trade-ins. If you got a truck that you don't want or you're looking for a truck, we've got a huge selection of pre-owned trucks right now. We have got Rubicons. We have got GMCs, Ford Flexes. We have got a Ram dually diesel. If you're in the market for a truck or you want to get rid of your truck, you'll never get more ever than it's worth right now. So come on down to 508 Susquehanna Boulevard in Hazleton and see why we'll give you more for the trade that those other guys won't.
At Grand Central, our family has been supplying your family with quality brand name furniture, mattresses, and appliances for over 3 generations. Whether you choose from our excellent selection of Lazy Boy, Catnapper, or England furniture, or from our fantastic selection of Sealy and Stearns & Foster mattresses, we guarantee total comfort in every room of your home.
With expert advice, everyday low prices, plus interest-free financing for up to 60 months.
From our family to your family.
Grand Central in Hazleton. Everything to make your house a home.
Something is out there. What it is, no one knows. However, since its first sighting, there have been numerous reports of strange lights in the night sky. Some say they are extraterrestrials, flying saucers. But to all of those seemingly unrelated uncertainties, there is one common thread.
Solar Spacemen on WYLN TV 35. Thursdays at 1:30, Saturdays at 4, Sundays at 9. There's no better place to shoot than Whitetail Preserve. Their skeet trap and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-455-4251 extension 1378 for more information. WYLN CA35's children's programming is designed with the specific purpose of serving the educational and informational needs of children. In compliance with FCC guidelines, a copy of the Children's Programming Report is on file for public inspection at WYLN 1057 East 10th Street in Hazleton, Pennsylvania during normal business hours. To view the report online, visit fcc.org.
WYLN's going behind the scenes to learn more about the lives and goals of our local leaders. So, Lauren Sacco's leading the way into part 2 of this week's series. And welcome back to this week's Leading the Way with Hazleton City Councilwoman Lauren Sacco. Now, Lauren, when did you know that you'd be walking down the path that you are now, and what led you to pursue these interests?
I would say the most defining moment of wanting to make a difference is when we found out we were pregnant. Before I had a child, you're fearless, you have ideas, you have aspirations, but then you see the miracle of God and you physically give childbirth to your own little tiny human, and you want everything to be paved and done correctly for that child to have everything they want growing up. And right now at this moment we have 7 little nieces and nephews, and they are all different in so many ways but the same in so many ways because they are raised with love and affection. And when I look around this community, you practice what you preach. You are who you hang with. I want this community to be successful, and I've chosen to go this route because I feel there is a lot of good things going on here, and there's a lot of good people, good businesses, and good families. And yes, we've had a couple bumps in the road, but who wants to read a book that takes you from chapter 1 to the end with no juicy gossip in between? So that's the reason of why I do what I do, because there's 7 little faces that depend on making sure we're doing the right thing.
And not even just City Council, you are also involved with We Are Hazleton to keep the community looking clean and feeling clean as well.
Yes, we're trying to really, when we drive around here, there is trash. Trash has become a huge issue, more so this last year, I think, because people are home and there's just, you're using a lot more takeout containers and the way things are packaged, and you can't really get your hands on things properly, so everybody's just using whatever they can get their hands on. And unfortunately, I'm not sure why nobody's not using a garbage can. It's quite disturbing and frustrating, all rolled into one. But that's another issue that we're tackling head on, and there's many local groups stepping up to the plate to make sure that we have pretty much just about almost every weekend full for the year.
Wow. All right, everyone. Check back tomorrow night as Lauren continues leading the way into part 3 of this week's segment. Good night. And that's the news. Remember, the source matters now more than ever. Catch all the latest on our Facebook page, YouTube page, or at WYLNTV.com. Stay with us. A look at today's weather is next, right here on WYLN TV.